Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Governor Mifflin School District State of the District. My name is Bill McKay, and I serve as the superintendent of the Governor Mifflin School District. It's my privilege to be part of the larger team of teachers, support staff, and administrators that support, teach, and care for the students of the Governor Mifflin School District. In this truly unique year, I couldn't be prouder of our students, our staff, and our community for the number of ways that they have risen to the challenge of this school year. This evening, we'll share some celebrations. We'll discuss some of the work around the district's comprehensive plan, and we'll provide some information related to the district's secondary campus building project. Many of our staff members followed Joe Sanfilippo on Twitter and watch his YouTube videos. Joe is a superintendent in Falls Creek, Wisconsin. Our former superintendent, Dr. Gerhardt, was particularly fond of Joe's signature sign-off, "Go Crickets." The reason I'm sharing Joe with you this evening is recently the district received a copy of Joe's book, Hacking Leadership. And on the inside front cover of that book, he wrote a message that contained 3 simple words, and these are the words I'm sharing with you this evening. Those words are the ones on the screen in front of you. Find a way. These words definitely define our 2020-2021 school year. Students faced with multiple learning platforms and at times changing schedules have been flexible and resilient and have found a way. Teachers have created, implemented, and delivered 3 entirely different learning platforms: virtual, in-person, and hybrid. They found a way to continue educating our students. Our operations department is continuously cleaning buildings throughout the day and then deep cleaning on evenings, snow days, and weekends. They have found a way to keep us all in school. Our food service workers have prepared, served, and packaged over 300,000 meals this school year. That's amazing. They have found a way to feed Mustang Nation. Support staff are daily supporting our students' social, emotional, and academic well-being. They found a way to keep our students connected to school. Bus drivers are making 3 runs a day, and while doing that, keeping students physically distanced on buses. They found a way to get our students to school. Extracurriculars are running virtual concerts, live streaming musicals, having wrestling matches with masks, and live streaming athletic events. They found a way to keep our students connected outside of the school day as well. Principals have created innovative schedules, coordinated a variety of daily logistics, and continue to work with students to be able to provide milestone events like Mini-Thon, the prom, and graduation. They have found a way to keep the school year going. The challenges have been many, but so have the solutions and successes. And now, we would like to provide you with a quick glimpse into the 2020-2021 school year with a video that illustrates how Mustang Nation has found a way.
I'm proud of the fact that we were able to have in-person learning that has been sustainable and that has had such a positive impact on the community. I think our staff is a large part of why we're able to, as a school district, we're able to have that in-person learning here.
Teaching virtually to first graders who had their kindergarten year cut short, it was definitely a little scary going into it, but the thing that we focused on the most was building those relationships. The thing that was really eye-opening for us was that we were a guest in their home. They were opening up their homes to us. it's just neat to watch it all unfold because this is such a unique year. And the two positions that I've been in, it's so interesting to watch that transition in these little ones. I think we sometimes forget that they're more resilient maybe than we are as adults, but they love being here.
Braden, can you tell me verbally or write down why you think this is con?
I think it's con because it seems to have a negative notation.
It's definitely a challenge. You know, the instruction has required more creativity and trying to find different areas and elements to get the job done. I feel like we are getting the job done. So I found that last year I had 70% had A's and B's, and this year it's 70% had A's and B's. So that's a remarkable thing, that given my class instruction has been dwindled, that the curriculum is the exact same. I'm not making the class less vigorous, and the students are performing.
For as long as I've lived here, which is a long time, the Mustang community and Governor Mifflin have worked together. We've overcome a lot, you know, as a community, and it's always amazing. Like, I'm not surprised, but it amazes me how well and how much people want to help. The Mustang Nation Boost Packs, they were initiated last March when everything was shut down. A partnership was formed with our local church communities and businesses who donated food and resources and their location, like their site, for families in the community to pick up the Boost Packs. And those are family-sized bags of food, stapled item foods that can feed four people, and then if their family has more than 4, they take 2 or 3 bags.
Anybody in the community with children 18 and under can roll up and grab as many bags as they need. Each bag contains 5 breakfasts and 5 lunches for the child.
This isn't just going to be 1 year, it's going to be a lot of girls coming through this program, finding something they can do and enjoy. Doesn't matter, if you really wanted to do something, you would make it happen, even if there was a pandemic or not. Obviously, we don't have as much matches and much time to show our stuff that we've been practicing for, but when we do, it's greater than if we didn't at all.
We're very proud of that, and we can't wait for springtime when the kids can come out and actually enjoy it. The building project is something that's been a long time coming, but doing it during this time frame is also impacting exactly what is going into the building and the thoughts going into the planning for those buildings. So we're looking at HVAC systems that have engineered infection protection.
It amazes me the resilience of the students. I was a little apprehensive at how things would go, just because it's different. But the students come in every day, eager to learn, ready to do what we're doing.
I'm just really proud of our school because everybody is following the guidelines, keeping it safe, but they're still making school fun.
They're learning how to be an advocate for themselves. They're learning how to say, I don't understand this, can you show this to me? Because everything is new this year.
we strive to create a workplace that our teaching and instructional staff is ready to come to teach and instruct in, and a place where our students can thrive. And I think that we've been able to do that this year.
We have a lot more consistency than any other school district that I know of in terms of being able to get the curriculum and the class time in an appropriate way where we are learning and we are getting things done effectively.
It shows me that we can really sort of do anything. We changed how we did it, and we did it pretty nice because the school's looking great, the teachers are still working, and things are going back to normal, sort of. So I think it shows that we can change no matter what.
So I have no doubt that we'll finish this school year strong and continue to showcase the unique work that's happening in our schools. As we go through the rest of the year, please post your celebrations on social media and use this hashtag, #MifflinLeads. A little over 2 years ago, 80 students, teachers, parents, and community members started meeting to create the district's comprehensive plan. This group met 6 times over 9 months to create Governor Mifflin's comprehensive plan. The plan creates the foundation for the district's goals and initiatives for the next 6 years. We've titled the plan Focus 2020, and it will serve as the filter and the foundation for all the decisions and goals within the budget, operations, and instructional practices of the Governor Mifflin School District. A huge thank you to the 80 participants that spent 9 months creating Focus 2020 for the district. What came out of the Focus 2020 meetings were our comprehensive plan goals. And you can see those 5 goals listed on the screen this evening: high quality instruction, high quality staff, high performance organization, performance enablers, and community connections. It's important to note that the Equity and Excellence Guiding Coalition will be ensuring that the Focus 2020 goals will be positively impacted for all students and staff within the district. Later this evening, Dr. Lisa Hess will be sharing with you the work from the Equity and Excellence Guiding Coalition. Now we're going to take a little bit closer look at the 5 goals from Focus 2020. Under high quality instruction, I'm not going to read all of these to you. They will be available on the district website, but you can see it's the foundation of everything we do in our classrooms related to curriculum and to instruction. And what our plan to do with these goals as we move forward is to condense into one focus goal for each year. So that's really what I want to spend the time sharing this evening, are those focus goals for each of these. And the high quality statement is that for the 2021-2022 school year, we'll create and develop a blueprint that includes a vertical curriculum map with grade level competencies for English, language arts, math, social studies, and science instruction that is pre-K to 12 standards based. And essentially what that means is we're creating a pathway. Many pieces of this pathway are already in place. Some of these will be, we create the bridge from the K4s to the 5-6 to the 7-8 to the 9-12. So that's some of the work to be done. But in other areas, such as science and social studies, it's been a few years since we've gone in and revised that curriculum and really looked at how it connects with the standards. So that's the work that lies ahead of us for 21-22, is to create that PK to 12 standards-based pathway for our core content areas. The next Focus 2020 goal is high quality staff, and this has to do with all realms of staff, professional development, and creating systems of mentorship and recognition for our staff members, making sure that we have students that are connected with staff members throughout our district. And as we move forward, our focus statement for the 21-22 school year is to establish and implement action plans for equity and trauma-informed support prior to the 21-22 school year beginning. So that means we'll provide the professional development necessary for our staff members to ensure that they understand the essential and very important work around equity and trauma in our schools. And the bottom line is we want every student that walks through our doors to feel like they belong and feel connected to the Governor Mifflin School District. And again, Dr. Hess in a few minutes will be sharing more along the ways that we're going to be making that happen. The third goal is around high performance organizations. And basically, these are the systems and the processes that live within our district in order to make sure that we're achieving at our highest levels. Along with that will be the core values that define Mustang Nation and what it means to be part of Mustang Nation. Our focus statement for the upcoming school year is to use an external measure that the Governor Mifflin School District will develop a system of continuous improvement to develop capacity and to manage and facilitate change. What we want is a system and a process for when we move forward on initiatives that we're just not randomly putting pieces in place. We want to make sure we're getting a return on our investment, and we want to make sure we're doing things in a systematic manner. So whether it's an initiative in operations, whether it's something in finances, whether it's something in one of our elementary schools or in our high school, we're following that same process as we work through the things that we're implementing. Performance enablers are all those components that make it all happen and connect everything together. And they do start with students and staff being in a safe learning environment, which has been obviously very essential to this school year. It includes the benchmarking for our assessments to make sure what we're doing is actually working and that we're being successful in what we're doing. It includes the technology components and how we can use those to expand learning. And again, at the core of it all are those learning environments that are safe and healthy and conducive for us, providing the best practices and the best practices within our classrooms. Our focus statement for performance enablers will be that we create strategies to implement various resources to engage students in a safe and welcoming learning environment where best practices are utilized. So we want to make sure that we're a progressive school district. They're continuously offering the best and the next instructional practices and experiences for our students. But at the core of that and the foundation of that is that we have relationships and that we are sure that every student has that sense of belonging when they come to our schools. The final goal within Focus 2020 is related to community connections. This is ensuring we have that two-way communication with various members of our community. The community feels like the district is the hub of our community, and they feel welcomed and they feel valued and they feel that they have input in our district. So for this upcoming school year, we'll be moving forward with identifying audiences and created pathways for two-way communication and relationship building across the community. So we want to make sure that we're serving all aspects of our Governor Mifflin community, and we're realizing all the opportunities that means and the improvements that we can make to make sure that everybody has the ability to maximize their learning at their time in the Governor Mifflin School District. So in conclusion, related to our comprehensive plan, Focus 2020 provides the district our decision-making filter. So we start with what's best for students, and then we look into it on where does this fit into Focus 2020. It is a 6-year plan that started in 2020. It will go through 2026, but we will have these focus statements each year to really make sure we know the work that we're doing currently. And again, I'd like to thank you to those 80 students, staff, and community members that donated 9 months of their time to create this comprehensive plan. And we want to make sure that we're putting it into action and following through with all the work that they did. So the next part of this evening is really for the stars of our evening, and this would be the Governor Mifflin High School Spring Swing Cast. We're going to be providing a sneak peek into the 63rd Annual Spring Swing, which will be Les Mis. Les Mis will be held in July. The hope there is that come July, maybe we have the opportunity to have an in-person audience. We'll see what the future holds. But either way, that's when Les Mis will be presented in the month of July, and we'll be getting more details out to you as the school year unfolds in regards to attending or live streaming into that performance. So stay tuned for those details. However, you do not have to wait until July to get a great high school theater production. In mid-March, our high school will be performing a musical extravaganza production of Shrek. This event will live stream on March 19th and 21st. Shrek streaming passes are available for purchase on the district's website and on the Governor Mifflin Facebook page. So now here's a sneak peek of Les Mis.
Do you hear the people sing, lost in the valley of the night? It is the music of a people who are climbing to the light. For the wretched of the earth, there is a flame that never dies. Even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise. They will live again in freedom in the garden of the Lord. They will walk behind the plowshare. They will put away the sword. The chain will be broken and all men will have their reward. Will you join in our crusade? Who will be strong and stand with me? Somewhere beyond the barricade, is there a world you long to see? Do you hear the people sing? Say, do you hear the distant drums? It is the future that they bring when tomorrow comes. Will you join in our crusade? Who will be strong and stand with me? Somewhere beyond the barricade, is there a world you long to see? Do you hear the people sing? Say, do you hear the distant drums? It is a future that they bring when tomorrow comes. Tomorrow comes.
Let me start by saying, please check out the Spring Swing this summer and stay tuned for details on how to see that. And don't wait till summer. Tune in March to check out Shrek. I know it's going to be an awesome show. And now Dr. Lisa Hess, our district's assistant superintendent, will be sharing the essential and very important equity work that's being done within our district. Dr. Hess?
Thank you, Mr. McKay. Good evening. I'm Lisa Hess, and I proudly serve our district and our community as assistant superintendent. Tonight, I'm going to share with you the journey of our district Equity and Excellence Guiding Coalition. The coalition, made up of a combination of teachers, a school counselor, and administrators, have been engaged in a year-and-a-half journey of awareness and understanding around equity. The members of the coalition are people in our district who, through their work, celebrate diversity, inclusion, and equity every single day, and who volunteered to be a part of a shared vision of establishing equitable practices in all aspects of our district systems. With a solid foundation of awareness around issues of inequity that exist within and around our district, we are now moving into the phases of commitment and action to ensure that all staff, students, families, and community members feel a strong connection to our schools and our community through a true sense of belonging. This is not a one-time coalition that serves one purpose, but an ongoing commitment embedded in multiple aspects of our district goals to ensure that everyone in our community has a voice and feels as if they have a place in our district. Next slide, Mr. McKay. At the core of our coalition work is one specific question. What would our classrooms look like if every student felt truly and equally included? Think about it. What would it look like if every single student in every district building felt truly and equally included every single day? It's heartbreaking and hard to believe that we have students who do not feel a part of their community and/or a sense of belonging in the district. But those students do exist, and we must recognize the fact now and commit to take action to resolve it. As we look at that question, we could also substitute classroom and students with schools and family. What would our schools look like if every family felt truly and equally included? Or we could substitute classroom and students with district and staff. What would our district look like if every staff member felt truly and equally included? At the core, Mustang Nation is a movement with a message that we are one as a district. We not only need to make that message clear to all students, families, and staff in our district, but also ensure that each of us use words and take actions that support that message every single day. Next slide. So what is the result of not feeling as if you belong? You can see in front of you the impact of a lack of belonging, from underperformance to emotional numbing. As an adult, think about it. If you do not feel as if you belong at a church, synagogue, mosque, club, event, gathering, what do? You find some place where you do feel a sense of belonging. That's exactly what our students do. If they do not feel welcome or a sense of belonging in our schools, they will look to something else to find a place that meets their social and emotional needs. As you take in this presentation and learn about diversity, inclusion, and equity work in which our district has engaged and is pursuing, keep at the forefront of your mind that at the core of this work is the goal that all students are our students and deserve to feel as if they belong to Mustang Nation and have the opportunity to thrive in an environment where diversity of students, staff, family, and community members is truly celebrated. There are difficult conversations that must take place to reach that goal. But if we remember that it is our duty to honor the dignity with which each human is born, those conversations can occur and progress can be made, resulting in a better district and community for everyone. As I move through this presentation, I will expand more on the sense of belonging and honoring of dignity. But first, let me take you through the diversity, inclusion, and equity journey from awareness to commitment to action. Next slide. In September 2019, the Equity Guiding Coalition joined almost every school district in the county, as well as other counties in the state, for the Berks County Intermediate Unit Learning Series, Equitable and Excellent Schools, where all students succeed. The series ran from September through March. Dr. Tyrone Howard, the expert speaker at this series, is an Associate Dean for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion at UCLA, and the author of Why Race and Culture Matters in Schools. The event provided the coalition its first opportunity to start the conversation around equity, reflect on our own district policies and practices, and understand the characteristics of equity-centered schools. Next slide. During this series, the coalition analyzed our schools and systems for chronic disproportionality, compared and contrasted our current practices to those of equity-centered schools, identified areas within our own schools and systems where equitable practices should be enhanced to increase learning, examined our own practices and beliefs regarding student learning and achievement, as well as opportunity gaps that may exist. We reviewed types of trauma, including historical trauma, racism, poverty, forced migration, and the impact on student behavior. We discussed the strengths, challenges, and opportunities, which we also shared with districts outside and inside the county, such as Wilson and Wyomissing, as they did theirs. Next slide. With the last series ending on March 6, 2020, it was a week later that the pandemic caused everything to shut down, including schools. And unfortunately, the work of the coalition and the learning that occurred at that series was on hold until the start of the 2021 school year. In August 2020, knowing that we had a lot of work to do and that we needed to enlist the help of someone familiar with equity work in schools, we looked to two specific people to help us develop a plan. Dr. Nicole Holland-Sims, educational consultant for the Pennsylvania Training and Technical Assistance Network, and is the statewide lead for equitable practices in partnership with the Office of Safe Schools for the Pennsylvania Department of Education, was a key player in our work. Dr. Christina Foll, Assistant Director of the Office of Professional Development and Curriculum, is also the point of contact for equity at the BCIU. With the help of these two fine women, the coalition completed an internal assessment using an adaptation of an equity audit tool from the Mid-Atlantic Equity Center. The audit tool provided us data and direction to develop an action plan. Next slide. In September 2020, we again worked with Dr. Sims and Dr. Foll. We developed an action plan and we established 3 priority areas for immediate focus: to establish and conduct a learning series with teachers, students, staff, parents, community members that volunteer to be a part of this initial outreach and engagement. Disaggregate a robust series of data points, such as perception, academic, demographic, and process data for a clearer understanding of our current context. To create family and community engagement opportunities to assist in informing our work moving forward. We were working as a team to then understand our next steps. Next slide. In October 2020, we had an opportunity to share our journey. A few members of the coalition were asked to present virtually in an equity series question and answer session held by Dr. Sims. Admittedly, we weren't the experts. We were an example that our context is calling out for a long journey to change our practices related to equity. We shared information on our district in terms of number of students, demographics, increasing number of transient students, the number of free and reduced lunch students, the number of students with an IEP. We shared how we started our equity, inclusion, and diversity work, and how we chose our guide and coalition. This video clip from the presentation speaks to the honesty of the sharing we did at this event and really captures what our coalition is working to achieve as we move from understanding and awareness to commitment and action.
If you can walk the walk with kids, and as a school counselor, I mean, I see both the best and I see the worst of all situations. And it's important to be able, in my opinion, to open your heart to what those kids need. And I think, you know, as adults, you know, we can grow, we can learn. And I think sometimes, you know, we forget that. You know, we get stuck in our job, we do X, Y, and Z, we go home to our families. And one thing I try to do, just as a personal example, whatever I might be dealing with my family, you know, I call it putting, and I'm looking at my back of my office door, putting my coat on the back of the office door, and whatever's at home stays in that coat. And then I come here to work, I open my heart to the kids that need me and that I serve. And then when I put that coat back on and I go home, I try to flip and say, okay, it's time to be a husband, it's time to be a father, etc. But my fear is that how many other people are willing to do that? How many other people are willing to open their hearts and to really see, you know, what our kiddos are dealing with day in and day out? And you'd be surprised. I mean, you know, when I have conversations with some teachers that say, you know, this kiddo has a circular table at home with 4 chairs, which only one of them has a seat in it. How would you react to that? How would you, and you expect these young men and young women to do their homework, to be accountable, to be responsible. Well, they're being accountable to their families. They're being responsible to their families. They're taking care of siblings. And then on top of that, we want to pile homework and classwork and everything else on top of them. And that's every student. That's not just students of color, but every student that's coming from a marginalized background. And then we expect them to learn on top of all the other, you know, Maslow hierarchy of needs for things that they're meeting. So I think we do. We have to be reflective and we have to open our hearts to these kids. I mean, they need us. And I think by and large, the kids that we deal with every day are excited to come to school. They're coming to school, which is awesome. Now, how can we best open our hearts to serve them? You know, that's the way I go about my job every day. And I hope more people would get on my bus with me.
And that's truly what this equity work is about, opening our hearts to our students and making sure that every student feels as if they belong and have a place in our district. Next slide. Too often, equity implementation reinforces a vicious cycle of failure because the keys to success are missing, boxes are just checked, and the purpose of the effort is muddled. In late fall, we felt that that was where we were in our work. And even though we had a list of priorities, we were unsure how to put them into practice in a way that would include everyone in our district and community, not just certain groups of people. In December 2020, I was introduced to Floyd Cobb and John Crownapple, authors of Belonging Through a Culture of Dignity, The Keys to Successful Equity. Floyd and John are individuals who have been tapped as equity leaders who, in their individual professional contexts, have come to observe some very familiar patterns, despite the fact that they've led this work from different regions of the country. In their book, they share patterns of problematic equity implementation, but more importantly, they share the concepts and their vision on how to make the noble and humanitarian undertaking of equity implementation more effective. Their approach provided us with a framework in which we could put our action into place. Next slide. John and Floyd developed the Dignity Framework for Educational Equity, outlined by 4 core dispositions, 4 indicators, and 4 behavioral standards, which shape a culture of dignity and a culture of belonging. The 4 core dispositions we need to engage in this work are empathy, listening, openness, and patience. The 4 indicators that our work is successful will be validation, appreciation, acceptance, and fair treatment. The 4 behavioral standards we must implement to keep the work going is building a partnership and community, repairing harm and restoring relationships, affirming differences and uniqueness, presume competence and positive intent. All the aspects of the framework fall in line with our district goals and our responsive classroom work at the elementary level and the restorative practices work we've been doing at the secondary level. Next slide. So here are the next steps that the Equity Coalition and district leaders and teachers will take to develop a shared commitment to the vision of equity and to move into actionable practices. The leadership team in the Equity Guiding Coalition in spring of 2021 will work with Floyd Cobb and John Crownapple to build a shared language and understanding of dignity, belonging, and inclusion. We will understand the specific organizational problems and identify metrics for assessing progress. We'll develop a shared commitment for leadership to co-construct a customized plan. Next slide. Floyd and John will then come back and work with us on June 7th and 8th. They will work with all of our teachers in developing awareness in terms of belonging beyond access, dignity beyond respect, and structural inequity and exclusion. They will work in action as far as dignity in action, dignity in practice and policy, and have a sharing symposium. So in closing, I want to go back to the original question. What would our classrooms look like if every student felt truly and equally included? There would be less violation of dignity that occurs through degrading differences, feeling a need to dominate others, presumption of incompetence, and blame and shame, which makes students feel otherized, mistreated, dismissed, and marginalized, which also leads to judgment, intolerance, denial, and apathy. We are striving for our community and in our schools where dignity can be honored through affirming differences and uniqueness, presuming competence and positive intent, building partnerships and community, repairing harm and restoring relationships through acceptance, validation, fair treatment, and appreciation, which will lead to openness, listening, and patience and empathy for all. Next slide. As I stated at the beginning of this presentation, this does not mean that we are not going to have those difficult conversations that must occur within our schools and community, but we will build a foundation of dignity and belonging for everyone first to ensure that every single person is heard and valued. In the summer of 2021, we will be communicating information on how you can be a part of that work. We look forward to partnering with our families and community members to implement a shared vision of establishing equitable practices in all aspects of our district systems and ensuring that Mustang Nation is truly one district and one community that welcomes and celebrates the diversity of every student, family, staff member, and community member. I want to leave you with a quote from educational philosopher John Dewey. What the best and the wisest parents want for his own child, that must the community want for all of its children. Any other ideal for our schools is narrow and unlovely. Acted upon, it destroys our democracy. Every person deserves to have their dignity honored and feel a sense of belonging in our community and schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hess. That's truly exciting work. We can't wait to put these initiatives into practice in our school district as we progress through the rest of this school year and into the years to come. The final component of this evening's presentation is focused on our secondary campus building project. In order to get you up to date, I have to talk a little bit about the journey that got us to this point. In 2017, the district completed a facility study focused on the middle school and high school buildings. The results of that study indicated that our 50-year-old plus buildings were in need of major mechanical and infrastructure upgrades, as well as multiple areas within these buildings needed renovations to get the buildings up to code and to make sure they meet the requirements of the American with Disabilities Act. The estimate for this work was about $40 million to get that work completed. Realizing that extensive renovations were necessary and were going to have to happen in order to keep the buildings operational, the question was raised, is there a way to modernize our buildings in a fiscally responsible manner as part of the necessary work that has to be completed in order to keep the buildings open? So beginning in 2017 and going through 2018, a group of staff members, students, parents, retirees, municipal and business leaders began meeting with district leadership and architects to evaluate modernization opportunities and possibilities. The work of that group created the foundation for the current three-phase building project. As you can see in front of us, we have phase one, which is set to begin in June of 2021. That's the main infrastructure pieces that had to happen on our aging buildings. Phase two, from May of 2022 to August of 2023, will actually create an additional building, which I'll get to in a minute. And phase three will be the work that happens within the middle school and the high school to create modern learning opportunities and restructure the current footprint of our middle school and high school buildings. The good news associated with this is that there is at least one silver lining to the pandemic. Due to the circumstances at hand, we've been able to restructure our debt within the district and take advantage of historic lows in interest rates. In addition, we've been able to take advantage of guaranteed energy savings, and we also are anticipating very reasonable costs on construction based on the current atmosphere and environment that's out there, with people having slowed down because of the pandemic and are looking for opportunities for work. So as we move forward, phase one will begin this summer, June of 2021. And this is that work we said was necessary to happen. This is work that has to happen because of failing systems and to get our buildings up to code and to meet requirements. This work will include replacing the boilers, the chillers, and the air ventilation in the middle school and the high school, along with a couple of the elementary buildings. We'll be looking at, in the middle school and high school, designated stairwells and restrooms that need to be upgraded in order to meet code and to also meet the requirements of the American with Disabilities Act. While that is happening, because different areas of the school will already be torn apart during the summer, we want to take advantage of that and do some work on specific middle school classrooms so that in those rooms, wiring, lighting, ceilings, windows can be replaced along with a fresh coat of paint in order to get those rooms up to par. Also during phase one, we will continue the design work for phases 2 and 3. Phase 2 is one of the big construction components of the three-phase project. This is to develop a community center that will be located between the current high school stadium and the multi-purpose field. That community center at its core will be the physical education and athletics and recreational opportunities for the district, but it will provide community access to that building in the evenings, on weekends, and throughout the summer to be able to access the amenities in that building in regards to weight rooms, indoor track, classroom facilities, and other recreational facilities within the building. The key to that building is to move our current physical education spaces from the middle school and high school out of the middle school and high school and into this community center. That allows us to have the space in the middle school and high school buildings to repurpose, to put into play for learning opportunities related to everyday content areas within the school. But in order to create the space, we have to move those areas into a community center that will house our physical education, recreation, and athletic opportunities for the district, and frankly, will become a hub of the community in regards to being able for community to access this and utilize that building. And in turn, it lets us use the existing footprint of the middle school and high school to do the work within the buildings to upgrade our learning without needing additional additions on those two buildings. Phase 3, which is currently slated for the summer of 2023 through December of 2024, includes upgrading and expanding the fine arts and performing arts areas in both the middle school and the high school. In the middle school, we'll be creating a STEAM and media center area. Media center is the updated version of the library. We'll be providing handicapped accessibility for the entire middle school. If you are familiar with the current middle school situation, you know that handicapped students and staff cannot access part of the second floor of that building. The high school cafeteria and kitchen will be redesigned and will provide upgraded dining services for our students, which also gives us the ability to more efficiently run our lunch schedules, which will provide more opportunity for scheduling for learning opportunities throughout the day. The high school will also have a STEAM learning center area. And essentially what this is taking some of our departments like technology education, family consumer science, and business, and clustering them in an area so that they can cross-collaborate and have interdisciplinary courses going on to the benefit of the students. The high school will also see an upgrade and a renovation of the media center, which is currently the library. So obviously this is an incredible, exciting opportunity for Mustang Nation. Our buildings have served us well for over 50 years, and now we get the opportunity to modernize and get them ready for the next 50 years so that we can provide our students with wonderful learning opportunities. The district is launching a new website this evening to provide information on all aspects of the building project. Please go to the district website and click on Building Project, or you can scan the QR code that's on the screen right now. This website will provide all aspects of the building project, including academics, finances, and construction information. In addition, monthly updates are available at our school board work sessions, which are the first Monday of every month. There will be a live presentation from the architects and the construction companies updating us on those building projects. So we encourage you, get out, visit this building project website, find the information that's on there. There's actually the ability on there to ask questions related to the project also. So please, leverage this exciting opportunity, check it out, and see what's coming to Mustang Nation in the future. In closing, clearly this was not the year anyone had wished for. It's been difficult and it's been challenging. However, through perseveration and innovation, Mustang Nation has risen to the challenge and provided many reasons for gratitude, hope, and celebration. The journey has been challenging, but the resiliency to find a way and educate our most valuable resource, our students, has been nothing short of amazing. Throughout time, great leaders have provided us with powerful thoughts. We shared one earlier in the video when we had the quote from Nelson Mandela. And now I'd like to share a second quote, this one from President John F. Kennedy. As I watched President Kennedy's speech delivered on a video clip from Rice University, I couldn't help but notice how powerful his words and thoughts are and how they directly connect to our school year and the work that has been done by everyone to provide daily learning opportunities to our students. As I read President Kennedy's quote, please listen for those connections related to our school year as we know it in 2020, 2021. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one that we're unwilling to postpone, and one which we intend to win. I do believe we are winning, and I know that Mustang Nation will finish strong.